We need affordable housing, permanent housing, and we want to make an investment, long-term plan, a retirement home, a family home.
So you're building a house currently
Yes.
for your millennial daughter, who is me.
Yes.
How did you decide to take on this project with me and build this house?
Well, I tried with all my children to put into her head to get a house, to get a piece of land. So one by one I tried each, and whoever took the bait.
So you baited me.
Yes, so you at one time you were receptive to the idea, and then so we start figuring out how to get a piece of land. If you can't get a piece of land in a town that you desire, well, try to get something a little bit outside of town. And if it's not clear, start clearing it yourself, you know. If it takes you 2 years to clear it, 3 years to clear it, you'll appreciate that you have cleared it, you know. And there's something that you have accomplished, and a work standard that you have met. I can honestly say, like, generations before us worked harder, physically worked harder. And like there's, work is you can't learn how to work hard overnight. But if you take one step every day or every other day, working to learn how to work, you will get your goals. But, you know, just, you know, like you can't build a house from a telephone or
That's true. That's true.
You have to actually start physically going out and doing some physical work.
What challenges do you see facing the younger generation about owning affordable housing?
They don't understand the full concept of what it takes to own, build, the cost, the whole thing about housing is not taught to them, so how would they know? I guess our generation kind of tells them you go to the bank, get a loan, buy a house, but it's a lot more complicated than that. It's like, are you buying it for a long-term investment? You know, like, there's different reasons, multiple reasons to have a house. And the only way you wouldn't buy a house, in my opinion, would be like if you couldn't get something back on your investment. That's like truly if renting would be a good investment, but you need someone that got a full view of what life is about to tell you, to help guide you to see if a house is a good investment. And I would say 9 chances out of 10, it's better to own your own home.
Yeah, I agree.
So as a young person, did you think about your future?
I did. I never really thought of it in terms of where I would live or the permanent state of my housing situation. I was always kind of on the back burner, just kind of assumed I might always rent. Not always, but like that would be how I would survive. It always felt like when I was in my younger 20s that owning a house would be really intangible. It wasn't something that I thought I could definitely not do on my own, and it would be far off in my future with a partner of some sort. I never thought it was something that I could do or start even on my own. I didn't realize how accessible it actually could be to build your own house, or how cheap. I didn't really know anything about it actually, and it was scary on the outside, but now that I'm in the process, it's seems a lot more realistic.
When I was young too, first starting out and making very low wages, I couldn't see how I could afford a house. The economics just didn't make any sense. But I threw that up in the air and I said, I'm going to go do it anyhow. And piece by piece, it all started to fall in place. It's like, they say it's an impossible goal. Like an impossible goal, you got to go for it anyhow. You got to believe that you're going to get there somehow. And even though you impossible hurdles, is like just go for the hurdles anyhow. Just take one step at a time, and then you will make your own path there somehow. But if you believe that you can't self-build, if you believe you can't own a home, you can't get there. You have to believe in yourself, or believe in life itself, and like every goal that you get, the ones that are hardest to get are the ones that you appreciate the most.
So would I be correct in saying that the biggest hurdle you see, or the biggest challenge you see facing my generation is the lack of skill, ability, or desire to do the physical work needed to obtain affordable housing?
That with the understanding of how to finance the house.
And so we're also missing the financial education piece.
Financial education, yeah, it's a big project. It's probably the biggest project most people will ever take on is the house. But I mean, there's a lot of information. Not understanding too is like your generation is like there's a lot of small families. So you've got parents, family, and stuff that can give you a lot of knowledge, a lot of resources in multiple ways. Like you got to understand all the resources you need to build a house and see what's accessible to you and start. And you may not see it, but if you ask, somebody may show you the way, maybe give you a helping hand. You know, it's all about a hand up, not about a hand out. Like life is about learning how to, you know, live your life. It's like the fisherman. He doesn't want to be given fish. He wants to be taught how to fish. Like it's about like learning how to fish.
Yeah, it's true. That's good advice. It's true. It's not about a handout. It's a hand up. Let me ask you, what hurdles do you see for completing this house?
Hurdles for completing this house. Inspiration. This is come to work in the morning versus going fishing. Is a big hurdle.
It's real.
It's real, yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's the actual hurdle is the actual skill to complete each task got to be done, because each task got a different skill set. So if you can adapt to that skill set to actually do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dad, you've built a house before?
Well, built our house, not completely finished, but yeah.
What do you mean it's not completely finished?
Well, the house, when you move in, you never completely finish it, right? Is you gotta get a contractor and get him to do it, or else you do a self-build and move in. You never end up finishing it. You're always got little projects here and there that you never end up doing.
When did you start building your house?
The mid-80s.
The mid-80s, and so you've lived there for 30 years.
Yeah, so mid-80s, 87 I believe we moved in, so yeah, for 32 years.
How, in the mid-80s, how was it to get, like, what was the process like to get land, to buy land, and what was the pricing like?
Well, there was a guy that developed that lane, made a road in, and then he sold out the lots, and I bought one of the last lots in there.
One of the last lots?
Yeah.
Oh, so I didn't realize that, so the houses were built up around you before you started building yours?
Most of them, yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool, I didn't know that. So how much was your land in the...
Well, I paid $5,000 for the lot, which was, at the time, was a little bit on the hefty side.
Wow.
So it would be, like, normal rate was around 35, so.
How did you decide to self-build?
Economics, you know, no choice in the matter. Everybody, well, mostly everybody did a self-build. Very few people contracted out. Our generation, especially around here, was mostly self-builds.
Or mostly self-builds?
Yeah.
Today is not like that at all.
No, there's very few self-builds now, mostly contracted out.
Today's generation, everything is kind of a solo type effort, but really everything is a team effort. I mean, you've got to learn, your generation needs more than our generation, is to build that team around you, communicate with your team. directly. Get physical, like taking a picture of your house and getting a bit of support, that's one thing, but I mean, getting a couple of guys over and helping you lay a few shingles, now that's teamwork.
Yeah.
Right, and that's where you know, build bonds and, you know, you gotta support each other.
Takes a village.
Takes a village, right? And your generation was lacking the village more than ours did, so. So
Yeah.
you
I feel
follow,
that.
yeah, so, like building a house is building a village, right? So, and you don't need, like, there's not a competition about the biggest, best house. It's about building a home for each and every one of us. It's like, it's the,
Just covering the bases of
Yeah.
everyone needs shelter.
everybody needs shelter and affordable living,